Let's be real. The job market for developers right now is, well, it's chaotic. And it's not just a phase. There's a huge shift happening in what it even means to be a software engineer. So today, we're going to dive into the rise of what's being called the AI native engineer and figure out what you need to do to not just survive, but actually thrive in this new world.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. I heard a story about a recent computer science grad from Berkeley, a top school, right? They applied to over 1,000 jobs. 1,000! And you know how many they heard back from? 2. Not 2 interviews, just 2 responses. That's not just bad luck. That is a massive signal that the ground is shifting under our feet. So, to really get a handle on where we're headed, we have to understand how we got here in the first place. The job market today is basically the result of 3 giant forces all crashing into each other at the same time. A flood of new grads, a huge wave of layoffs, and of course the game-changing arrival of generative AI. Okay, so let's break it down. First, you go back to 2021 and you see this huge wave of post-COVID overhiring. Companies were just snapping up talent. But then, that was followed almost immediately by massive layoffs, as those same companies tried to get more efficient. At the exact same time, the number of computer science graduates has nearly tripled in the last 10 years. And then, the final catalyst, the AI boom. Suddenly, employers everywhere started asking themselves, wait a minute, can we do more with fewer people if those people are really good with AI? And it's out of this perfect storm that a brand new archetype is starting to emerge, the AI native engineer. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some new buzzword or a fancy job title. No, this represents a completely new way of thinking about building software from the ground up.
Think about it this way. The traditional developer, they were a builder. Their focus was on the craft of writing lines of code. The AI native engineer, though, they're more like a manager. Their main job is to orchestrate a whole team of AI agents, these are basically autonomous programs that can handle complex tasks, to get to a bigger goal. The focus is completely shifted from manually building everything yourself to strategically managing and allocating intelligence.
Okay, so that sounds cool, but how do you actually manage a team of AI agents? Well, the very first step is to completely change your mindset. You can't think of them as simple tools you just give commands to. You have to start thinking of them as a team that you need to lead, and lead effectively.
I love this analogy from Mihail Eric at Stanford. It's just perfect. You wouldn't just give an intern some vague command and then walk away expecting amazing results, right? Of course not. You guide them, you clarify what you need, you help them when they get stuck, and then you review their work. All those same principles of good human management. They are now absolutely essential for managing AI.
And please don't try to manage 10 agents right out of the gate. Start by just mastering 1. Give it a real complex project. Once you get comfortable with that, then you can start adding more agents. But give them small, isolated tasks, like refactoring a function or updating an API call. The single most important skill you're going to build here is what's called context switching. That ability to jump between your agents, remember what each one is doing, and give them what they need to move their own little tasks forward.
Because successfully orchestrating multiple agents at once, that is the ultimate skill in this whole new world. It's like the final boss in a video game. It's what separates the top 1% of users from everybody else. It's tough, for sure, but it is also the most powerful and valuable skill you can possibly be working on right now.
But here's the catch. Your team of AI agents is only ever going to be as good as the environment you put them in. I mean, letting an agent loose in a messy, undocumented codebase, that's a recipe for absolute chaos, not productivity.
See, if an agent misunderstands just one part of your code because it's poorly written, it won't just make a single little mistake. It'll see its own flawed output, assume that it's correct, and then start building on top of its own error. The problem just compounds exponentially. A tiny bit of confusion can spiral into a tangled nightmare of code.
So you have to prepare your code by setting some clear house rules. Strong test coverage, that's like a contract that tells the agent exactly what correct looks like. Your documentation, especially your README, has to be a perfect mirror of what your code actually does. And you need consistent design patterns, so the agent isn't trying to guess if it should use a class-based component or a functional one for the same kind of feature.
Now, hearing all of this, it might sound kind of intimidating. I get that. But there's a really counterintuitive truth here. In this new landscape, junior engineers, you guys actually have a massive built-in advantage.
Think about it. Senior developers often have decades of habits they need to unlearn. They can be resistant to new tools and pretty set in their ways. But junior developers, you're like sponges. You're learning everything from the first time, with no baggage, no preconceived ideas. You've got this kind of good naivete.
You don't know what's supposed to be hard, so you just go out and do it. This lack of baggage is a superpower. It really is. It means this new generation of engineers can be the most nimble, the fastest to master the exact skills that are in the highest demand right now. Your opportunity isn't just to keep up, it's to actually leapfrog the seniors and become truly AI native. This is your call to action.
So far, we've been talking about you, a human, managing a team of AI agents. But that leads to a much, much bigger question. What happens when the AIs start managing each other? When they start collaborating and creating without a human even in the loop?
Well, according to Rem Koning at Harvard, answering that question well could launch the next trillion-dollar companies. So mastering the skills to manage AI doesn't just help you land a job today. It puts you at the absolute forefront of the next tech revolution. The real question is, are you ready to be a manager?